welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Susannah and I make everything in the Ninja Foodi, and I really hope you enjoy this recipe. So for this evening's dinner, I'm making a chicken satay rice bake. That is going to be made on bake in one pot in our Ninja Foodi. It's absolutely ideal to throw together. It does take a little bit of time to prep the ingredients, but it is so worth it because this is absolutely delicious. And if you'd like the full recipe for this, then that is on my website, and that's available at www.susannahskitchen.uk. You can also get a copy of my brand new cookbook over there as well, so go and check that out if you're interested. I'm really looking forward to this dinner tonight. Really fancy this, and I absolutely adore the satay flavours. I hope this is something that you're going to enjoy as well. Let me know in the comments if you do give it a try, and I look forward to seeing your creations of this as well. So come with me now, let's go and do some prep and get this cooked. If you're making this for 4 people, then you're going to need 500 grams of chicken breast. And I like to cut this into fairly decent sized chunks, just like that. And to the chicken, you're going to want a tablespoon of soy sauce. You can use a heaped teaspoon of minced garlic, crushed garlic, or some garlic granules, up to you. I'm going to put in some garlic granules. Now comes into play our satay seasoning, and we want 2 heaped tablespoons for the 500 grams of chicken. Next ingredient is some coconut milk. So let's get that opened. And you're going to need about 2 tablespoons of this. And the last thing you're going to need is a tablespoon of sweet chili sauce. And all we need to do now is coat that chicken, and that is going to take on all of those flavours. This smells absolutely brilliant. It's going to be such a tasty dinner tonight. I'm really looking forward to this. So now you can cover that, put that in your fridge. You could most definitely do this the night before if you want to, or even just in the morning. The longer that you leave it, the more those flavours are going to penetrate the chicken. I've got all my rice here in my Ninja pot, and I have washed that so that is completely rinsed and ready to go. Now we need to add in our chicken stock and also our coconut milk. You'll want 160 grams, 160 ml of coconut milk. So pour that over your rice. Then I'm going to go and make up some chicken stock in here. So I've just got a chicken stock pot cube here. So let's get that in. I'm just going to boil the kettle and make up that stock. Whilst I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, let's finish off what we're going to put in the rice, which is around 1/4 teaspoon of our satay seasoning. So she's going to add a little bit more flavour to our rice, which is going to be lovely. And then around 1/2 teaspoon of garlic granules. Now in this dish you can use whatever veg you choose. I quite like some pepper in mine, and then also I quite like some broccoli as well. So it's just a way of adding veg, cooking it all in one pot, which we like on this channel. Makes it nice and easy. I did actually think about pressure cooking this dish, but I thought, do you know what? Let's try something different and let's actually bake this like you would if you were using your oven. So I'm just going to chop the broccoli into small little florets, and then the pepper, just sort of dice it up into small pieces. And now the very last thing that we need to do is make our satay sauce, which we will use to serve on top of our dish once it's cooked. So So I've got my scales under here because sometimes it's just as easy to use your scales. So 3 tablespoons of coconut milk or 60 grams. So I'm just weighing that out. So you're going to use probably 3/4 of a can of coconut milk. If you want to make a bit more satay sauce and use that up, then of course you can do that. Next thing we need is some peanut butter. And I've got a really big tub here. Oh, look at that. And you're going to want 30 grams, which is about a heaped tablespoon. Next ingredient is some soy sauce. And you're going to want half a tablespoon. Half a tablespoon of mirin. You can use fresh garlic in this. I'm again going to use my garlic granules. Probably want around a teaspoon of crushed garlic. My measuring spoon's a bit dirty, but I'm not too worried. We need some sriracha or some sort of chili sauce, chili paste, 1 to 2 teaspoons. So it's going to really depend on how spicy you like it. I think I'm going to go with 1. And then again, we're going to use our lovely satay seasoning and just around half a teaspoon of that. Brilliant. Mix that together and that is your satay sauce for serving. That's coming together really nicely. Of course, you can warm this beforehand, so you can do that on sear and saute, or you can put it on the hob or pop it in the microwave. Doesn't really matter how you do it, but that is absolutely gorgeous, so delicious to literally spoon over this lovely chicken satay rice dish. I'm now ready to cook this lovely dish, so let's get everything ready. So my stock is in here and I'm just going to add that to my rice. And we already had the coconut milk in there and our spices. So look at that. That looks great. And all we do is simply layer this up. And this is the beauty of this dish, really. So next, I just lay my vegetables on top. Just spread those out. And the next thing to do is to add your chicken on top. And that's got all of that beautiful marinade on there. Again, just spread it out as you lay it over. And this is going to go on to bake. This makes such a nice dish. Oh, it smells so lovely. Now, if you're making this for 4, you will have a little bit more chicken than I've got here. But the ingredients for the rice were actually for 4 people. Just don't want you to be confused by that and think, well, it doesn't look very much. You would have more than that. I think it was 300 grams of chicken that I actually used this evening. Great. Get that on your rack. I'm going to lower that straight into my Ninja pot. Close the lid. And now I'm going to get my Ninja Foodi onto bake. I want it on 180 and I think this is going to take around 30 to 40 minutes. So let's go with 30. Obviously, I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to let it run for that full amount of time until I know where we're at and if that's kind of cooked or not. So I'll feed back to you and let you know exactly how long this takes. Okay, so I like to get a little bit of colour on mine to start with. Then I just grab the rack, take that out for a second. And you can see here that we're getting a little bit of colour on the chicken. Cover that with foil or the crisper plate. That's just going to protect it a little bit more whilst it continues to cook. Because obviously we want some colour on there, but we definitely don't want the top burnt. So once that's back in, just continue cooking like that. So I checked it at 40 minutes and the rice was still a little bit under and there was still some liquid in there. So I've gone for 45, which is quite a long time, but I've had a little taste. Oh, it tastes so nice. And wait until we get that satay sauce on it as well. So I'm going to go and dish it up and then I'm going to show you and put the sauce on. So here we go. We've got this lovely satay sauce to drizzle over the top. You can put on as much as you like. This is absolutely delicious. Does take a while to cook, but obviously you can go off, do what you need to do while it's cooking. It's not like you have to particularly watch it. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gonna add a little bit of coriander over the top, and then also some lovely crushed up peanuts, because that makes all the difference to have that little bit of crunch over the top. The satay sauce on the top of that really made it for me so delicious. And the rice was the right amount for 4 people, and so was the satay sauce. Obviously, it's very much dependent on what size portions you like, but I think that worked out really well. I just wanted to kind of come on at the end here just to kind of give you a tip, which is just to keep stirring it slightly, because you do find that the pieces of rice on the top that aren't able to absorb the liquid as much do go slightly crunchy if you don't keep stirring it. So obviously we put the lid on after that first initial sort of 10 minutes. And as I said, it took 45 in total. So really worth putting foil on. Obviously, if you don't want to colour your chicken and your vegetables, then you can just do foil or a lid the whole way through cooking. That would be absolutely fine. Keep checking it. Basically, once that liquid is absorbed, your rice should be cooked, because the quantities did seem just right. But yeah, I would probably say every 5 minutes, if I'm honest. Give it a little stir around, keep everything nice and moist, and make sure that rice gets fully cooked through. The chicken actually really surprised me being cooked like this. It was so super tender. You'd think that being cooked on bake, when it's just in chunks like that, for that length of time, that it would be quite dry, but it really wasn't. It was moist and delicious. And like I said, the sauce was really good. So I hope you give it a go. Let me know in the comments if you do like this recipe. A little bit of a different one, wasn't it? Because obviously using the bake rather than my usual, which would be probably to pressure cook it. But I think it worked really well. And obviously it allowed us to have that bit more texture in it, which is really nice, because when you pressure cook, everything is extremely wet. So yeah, definitely more texture. And also the vegetables were in there, which were just right. They were tender, but not overcooked. And obviously if we pressure cooked them, they would have just melted away to absolutely nothing. They'd have been mush. So thanks for watching my video, and don't forget, if you're new here, to subscribe to my channel. It's free. Click on the link below, and don't forget to give me a like as well.